Hi, my name is Tadej Gašparovič, and welcome to the second part of this series. Today, we're gonna set up our Workspace environment. The goal here is for you to have an identical setup as I have, so that we don't have to worry about compatibility issues. To achieve this, I'll first show you how to set up a Ubuntu virtual machine. Don't worry if you don't know what a virtual machine or Ubuntu is, I'll explain it in more detail in a minute. Okay, so in my script it says that I'm gonna show you how to set up the full project, but here I am during recording and I just figured out that that is actually not gonna fit in this video. I'm gonna do that in the next video because just the virtual machine setup is gonna take quite a while, so yeah, we're gonna do that next time. Okay, so let's get started with the virtual machine setup. First, if you don't have VirtualBox installed yet, go to virtualbox.org and download the latest version. You can find the link in the description. This is a very useful piece of software that lets you create and run virtual computers on your existing computer. This way, your setup will be identical to mine. Next, you'll also need to download an ISO image of the latest version of Ubuntu. In case you're not familiar with Ubuntu, it's a very popular Linux distribution, and it's also what I use on my laptop since it makes development a bit easier compared to Windows. You can download it from ubuntu.com or follow the link in the description. This is a relatively big file, so it might take a couple of minutes for it to download to complete. Once it's downloaded, open up VirtualBox and click the New button in the top left corner to create a new virtual machine. Give it a name. I'll name mine Cloud Storage Dev Workspace. Under Type, select Linux, and under Version, select Ubuntu, 32 or 64 bits depending on your system. Next, you'll need to decide on how much RAM you'll allocate to the VM. I have 16 GB of RAM in total, so I'll give it 4 GB, but this will depend on your current setup. A good rule of thumb is to give it a quarter of your total RAM. So for example, if your computer has 8 GB of RAM, you want to give it 2048 MB. By the way, keep in mind that 1 GB is equal to 1024 MB and not 1000 MB. Then, after you press next a couple of times, you'll be asked how much disk space you want to allocate to this virtual machine. You should give it at least 30 GB, but I'll go with 50 so we have some extra space to work with. Okay, perfect. Now we have a virtual machine set up, but before we start it up, we need to change some settings. Make sure the virtual machine you just created is selected and press the settings button at the top. We first need to give it internet access. We'll do this by opening the network settings and selecting bridged adapter from the attached to dropdown. And lastly, we need to select the Ubuntu ISO image we just downloaded. We can do this by going to Stored Settings, selecting the empty CD unit and selecting the downloaded ISO image. Perfect! We have our virtual machine set up. Now let's start it up and install Ubuntu. Click on Install Ubuntu. Check the Install Third-Party Software option and click Continue. Make sure the first option is selected and click Install Now. It will ask you if you want to write the changes to the disk, so just click Continue. Next, it'll prompt you to select your time zone. Select it and click Continue. Select your keyboard layout. And finally, you'll need to create a user account. Now it's time to wait for the installation to complete. This should finish within a couple of minutes. Also, if your network doesn't use DHCP and you need to set a static IP, just follow the steps I took while the installation was in progress. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you probably don't have to worry about it, so just wait for the installation to complete and you should be fine. Once the installation finishes, click Restart Now and wait for the machine to reboot. Upon startup, you'll get prompted to remove the installation media and press Enter. VirtualBox should already remove it automatically, so just press Enter to boot into Ubuntu. And we're done! We've successfully installed Ubuntu. In the next video, we'll go over the project setup. We'll install some dependencies and set up a Laravel project that will be the foundation of our cloud storage service. Thank you for joining me in the second part of this series. If you'd like to follow along with these tutorials and learn how big projects are developed, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon to receive a notification when I upload the next part. And if you liked what you saw, hit that like button as well and share this video with your friends. And if you've encountered any problems during this tutorial, feel free to leave a comment down below or reach out to me through any social media platform listed in the description. And with that said, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.